All right, back on Southeastern 16, talking SEC basketball with the one and only Max Barr. Boogie Fland, Max, has been a hot topic of conversation, as we know, in
Oh yeah.
SEC basketball circles, as the former Arkansas player transferred, entered his name into the transfer portal, had the do not contact tag,
Hmm.
Max, and now there's lots of stuff out there, as we've talked about over the past couple weeks, connecting him potentially with the defending national champions, the Florida Gators. And so, Max, the timeline. Boogie Fland, is he headed to the draft? Is he headed to Florida? All that we're going to get into as we kind of look at this situation, which is really, when you probably kind of look at it from afar, this is the biggest SEC basketball transfer storyline we have going on right now here on May the 7th.
Yeah, I was just going to say this pertains primarily to Gators fans. However, this pertains to the whole league here. Okay? This could have major implications. Now, how did we get here? Right? So Boogie's in the portal, but he's the whole time it's NBA focused. NBA focused, NBA focused. Start to hear a few weeks ago that maybe he's looking at coming back to college. The whole time for this two guard spot, this combo guard spot for Florida, they're not worried about specific positions, but this secondary guard spot next to Xavier Lee, it was between the international Ben Henshaw and USC's Desmond Claude for almost a month now. It feels like for weeks. It's been those two who have been listed to the Gators for that spot next to Xavier Lee. The Claude news breaks out that that's not going to be working. And Henshaw is very focused on going pro. That domino there leads Florida to start reaching out to other combo guards. Now, from a Florida message board, either yesterday on we're recording this on Wednesday the 7th. So either on Tuesday the 6th or Monday the 5th, Todd Golden was up in New York City for the coaches award ceremony. There was a report that Golden visited with a New York City recruit while on this video. There's only one guard in the portal, the caliber of the SEC, that lives in New York City. His name, Blake, is Boogie Fland. That report comes out, and then Trilly Donovan on his Discord reports on Monday. I think the Florida and Fland interest is very real, but the price point is in between the $2 and $3 million range. And here we sit now on May 7th, talking about the biggest story in the portal. Boogie Fland, NBA talent, extremely, extremely well fit for this Gators team. Blake, exciting times.
Exciting times, to say the least. Okay, so if we step back for a second and go back to the initial thought, and that is that NBA, 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 right?
Yes.
Like, headed to the NBA, no brainer, not even a discussion, okay? If you look at some of the recent, and I found one here. To me, this is the most updated mock draft that I see, and this is from Bleacher Report, okay? And you just keep going and going and going. You're trying to figure out where they have Boogie Fland. All right. I'm in the second round now, and he's not been listed yet. Okay. And I'm scrolling. There's Janai Broom at 33 to the Charlotte Hornets. There's Adu Thero to the Charlotte Hornets at 34. Man, that'd be quite a haul there for the Hornets. But we'll talk about the Hornets for members maybe one day. You got LeBaron Philon to the Brooklyn Nets at 36. You've got then the next SEC player, Boogie Fland, to the Washington Wizards at 40. So 40, right? That's a second round pick.
Yep.
We know things are a little bit different when you're a second round pick than a first round pick. By the way, Chaz Lanier to the Golden State Warriors at 41. Can't think of a better connection. But I'm going to save this for another day. But just that shows you, though, putting that in the context, if you see all these SEC players kind of in that range, he's one of those guys. And so if that's where we are, and again, this is one person's mock draft, right? Like, it's just one person's. But if we're saying that is kind of your expectation right now, then it's not as no-brainer of a thought that, okay, he's off to the NBA, he's headed there, because like we said, it's a much different thing now. Every time we have these conversations around this same time every year, in the NIL era, it's way different than it used to be. Guaranteed first-round pick, boom, you're gone. Second-round pick, I mean, yeah, you're probably iffy, not sure, depends, but like with the financial opportunities available, you can find yourself in a much better situation potentially to come back to school. The pay is going to be there, especially for a guy like this. You mentioned the numbers that are being thrown around. And so that's why this situation, based on everything you said, all the kind of twists along the way, to me, that's why this is setting up to be so fascinating, is because it is one where if you are Florida and you are the defending champs, and we've already seen what this roster is going to look like in terms of the makeup, the expectation of who you're getting back, maybe the entire front court. We know Condon's going through the draft process. We mentioned bringing in Lee and what he's going to add to the mix. But, you've also got a bit of wiggle room there, Max, because Walter Clayton's not there. Elijah Martin's not there. Will Richards not there, right? And so you've got, I would think, some money to work with. Can you put that in an appealing sort of package to land a guy like this that, quite frankly, may very well be the missing piece to Florida going for what it did, years ago, and that's back-to-back national championships.
Yeah. So real quick on the NBA, he's got the combine, so he's got a shot at impressing. But is he gonna impress like 15 spots on a mock board worth? Like, is he gonna impress that much to where he's that locked in, top 25-ish on the boards, guaranteed first round pick? I don't think so. Might move up a little bit, but that's about 15 spots on mock boards Boogie would have to move up to be just locked into he's going to the draft. So that's why you're seeing more and more Boogie back to college. And then two, Blake, we said what this could mean for the league. There it is, right? Now, the main conversation, the main big talking point is the SEC has a chance to go back to back. When's the last time that you've heard that, right? Back to back. UConn. Think about how St. John's just shot up trying to catch UConn in their own league. Think of that now in the SEC, where you're going to have conversation of the whole season. Florida, can they go back to back? Can they do it again? Can they repeat? Think of how that raises up the expectation of everybody else. Kentucky, Arkansas, Alabama, Tennessee, these teams that we've put into that top tier group of kind of portal winners. Well, now, hey, defending champs just added Boogie Fland and Xavier Lee. They're returning the whole front court. Now we got, boom, it raises everything. It could really, really change the national conversation of, the SEC is probably going to take a little bit of a step back this year, losing a lot of talent. Maybe it's the Big 10 or the Big 12's year up next year. Just by this one thing, just getting that conversation around, wow, could go back to back here in the SEC, could really change the national outlook on the league heading into next year.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And like you said, it's still a wait and see process from the NBA's perspective with him, because it's one person's mock draft, right? So the fact that one person have him in that range, great. But there are other people out there that, you look around, they've got him in the 20s or something like that. And so we'll see.
Right.
But we had the conversation, we've had it 2 weeks in a row now on our live streams here on the channel, that, okay, if we're making a list of the top 6 teams in the SEC, we said we feel like they're pretty clearly defined. Yep. And yet we always kind of lead with Florida, because we're like, hey, even right now as it stands, if you're looking at a Florida roster that is going to bring back our guy, Tommy H., Sir Thomas Howell, they're going to bring back potentially Alex Condon. We'll see. Again, he goes through the process. He has a chance to shine. We'll see how it works. Chenyelu, Han Logden, a fully healthy full season.
Yep.
I mean, that is, again, a group that emerged into one of, if not the most impactful front court out there towards the end of last season. And if they're all in there again, well, then they're going to start the season as the best. Like, probably very few questions asked. And so then it really is. I mean, we've done a video on Lee. We've talked about what we think he's going to bring to the table. As always, anytime you have a guy who's coming in and transferring up, people are going to have questions. We really like his game, though. Playing for Todd Golden, I think he fits perfectly. And so, then you're looking at that one spot. And this is where, again, if you were to make this addition, if Boogie Fland joins Florida, if he's on their roster to start next season, and everybody else that we talked about is back, they are going to be your preseason favorite in the SEC.
Yes.
I think that's the case. Now, we've made arguments for Kentucky. We've made arguments for Arkansas. We've talked about, we still want to see a couple spots filled for, let's say, a Tennessee, an Alabama, Auburn, which some of those, as we said, could come via a draft decision or something like that, especially in the case of Alabama. But, I mean, there is no doubt in my mind, even as it sits right now, Florida is one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the SEC, which means you're probably a top 12-ish team nationally.
Yep.
But we know, like, if this is the one where if this domino falls and he winds up there and he fills that one other spot that right now we're sitting there like, okay, we're just like, we're waiting and waiting. And then all of a sudden it's like the meme where everybody's just kind of looking and they're watching the game and then somebody scores and everybody's like, oh, yeah, like that's what it would be. So this is such a huge decision and such a huge potential impact for Florida, but like you said, it ties into the rest of the SEC because that may determine, and I know Florida fans are watching this like, hey, we're going to be the favorite no matter what. We're the defending champs, and touche, understood. But there would maybe be no doubt at that point that how could you put anybody else maybe ahead of them if that's the case?
I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but just put it this way. That front court, and I know Tommy H is probably going to be on the wing a bit more, but just kind of slide him into that front court group. Tommy H, Condon, Chinyalu, Hand-Lockton, and then the redshirt freshman, the 6'11", Victor Mikic also. They will be the best front court in the matchup in every single game they play. Then you have Xavier Lee, Boogie Fland, Clavchar, and Alex Lloyd, who has been drawing LeBaron Philon comparisons, along with the Brown brothers and CJ Ingram, top recruit in the backcourt. I don't know how many backcourts would be better. Maybe there's some out there, but the point I'm trying to make is they're going to have the better front court in every game they play, and then just supplement this backcourt. Guys, you're talking serious repeat conversations.
Right now, Max, and I'm going to try to pull this up on the fly, and maybe I can do it because it just kind of came into my mind here to look at the current odds to win the 2026 national championship.
I believe Florida's plus 2,200.
Plus 2,200 is where Florida's at, which ironically Arkansas also at plus 2,200 as we talk about Boogie Fland here. But they're behind Purdue, Houston, Duke, UConn, BYU, St. John's, Kentucky, Kansas, Michigan, and they're tied with Louisville and Arkansas. That's going to change if Boogie Fland's head to Gainesville to play for the Gators. But we will see. We don't know yet. We will find out. We'll be here to cover it. Southeastern 16. You guys know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button. We officially launch our big, fun, exciting new additions to our membership tier this week. And next week, you'll get the full experience. So go ahead. Sign up for it. $3.99 a month. Hit that join button. You can join the It Just Means More tier because it just means more to you. If you're a Florida Gator fan, back-to-back national championships in play potentially. All this fun stuff. Support the channel. Support our SEC basketball coverage this offseason. Support everything else we do. SEC football, SEC baseball. We appreciate you guys watching as always. We'll talk to you soon here at Southeastern 16.